Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Dream Lifestyle podcast, where we believe that any dream is possible. Your dream is possible as long as you're willing to grow for it. And in today's episode, you're going to be hearing from my friend Andre Cruz, who is a husband, he's a father, he's a fitness professional, and he is an entrepreneur as he serves as a senior coach for a company called Ladder, which you're going to hear about in a moment. And in this conversation, he talks about going all in so that way you can find fulfillment. And so I believe that this conversation is going to provide value to you as you are building whatever it is that's on your heart. And so all I ask after you get done with hearing the conversation with me and Andre is to send this to somebody that you know. And so with that being said, let's get into the conversation with me and Andre Cruz. Well, Andre, my friend, how you doing, sir?
I'm great, brother. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm really excited about this conversation. I think you're going to add a lot of value to those listening. And so, I don't take it for granted that you're here. And so one of our traditions here on the show is to really ask all of our guests, when did you start building your dream lifestyle?
A long time ago. So let's wind the clocks all the way back to 2010. So at that point, I'm a young corporate banker 2 years after graduating from the University of Pittsburgh. On paper, everything is going great, making good money. I have a stable career, all that stuff. But I find myself surrounded by men and women who I describe as pear-shaped bankers who could describe their entire life's work in one sentence. My name is so-and-so. I went to this university. I've been at the bank for 15.3 years, and I have 2.5 kids and a big house and a lot of money. And I knew that if I stuck around the bank for too much longer, I'd get golden handcuffed and become one of them. So much to my mother's dismay, I quit the bank. I had no backup plan at all. I just knew that I did not want that to be my life. So at the time when I was banking, I enjoyed drinking a lot because I hated my life. So I figured, hey, maybe I want to open up my own bar restaurant. I always knew that I wanted to have my own business. I just didn't know exactly what it would be. So I get my mixology certification, and I start bartending, and I'm enjoying it. I like the fact that I'm engaging with people on a daily basis. I like the fact that I'm on my feet, not stuck behind a desk staring at Excel spreadsheets and 10Ks and 10Qs. But then I start to see the other side of it where I'm on the border of maybe opening up my own bar restaurant. I had a couple of investors. But then I realized that that's not really the life that I want to live either, because while it's fun and I'm engaging with people, I'm not necessarily making the most positive impact on people's lives if they're coming to the bar Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I make the decision to kind of get out of that. Randomly at the time, a lot of movies were being filmed in Pittsburgh where I lived. And so I worked on a Tom Cruise movie for a while. I worked on a Will Smith movie for a while. And all of the time while that's going on, I get into pretty good shape because instead of me drinking every night and sitting at a desk, I would get up, 9 o'clock in the morning, go to the gym, and then I would work my shift at the bar. So I'm on my feet for the majority of the day. So my girlfriend's mom at the time, who is now my mother-in-law, says, hey, you've gotten into good shape. Why don't you look into personal training? I didn't think that I would like it, but I got certified back in the summer of 2012. I went and had an interview at the LA Fitness in Secaucus, New Jersey. And the interview was they had me train one of the senior trainer's clients. And this was a woman who had type 2 diabetes. She had, some knee injuries. She was someone who pretty much her trainer would just take her from machine to machine to machine. And that's really all her workouts were. So I said, hey, let's try to get you moving here. So get her up on her feet. I get one of those big Swiss balls. I put it up against the wall and I say, hey, let's lean back against that and let's try to do some body weight squats just to get yourself moving here. And she's able to do them. And then we're, picking up some light dumbbells and get some medicine balls involved. And then by the end of the workout, it's only a 30-minute session. By the end of the workout, she's crying. And I'm like, oh my God, was it too hard? Did I push it too hard? And she says, no, this was the first time that I actually got to use my body in the gym, and I actually enjoyed my workout because I wasn't just stuck to a machine. So that right there, that was the light bulb that went off and said, even though the pay is just a fraction of what I was making in the world of corporate banking, I knew that this was my opportunity here to make a positive impact on people's lives and do it while interacting with people and having that personal touch. So that's really what started the catalyst for me getting into personal training. I start working at LA Fitness. I'm making $9 per half-hour session. Garbage money. But I loved that way more than any minute that I spent at the bank making more money than I knew how to spend. So as that there for a year, moved on to Equinox in Manhattan, got my education up. Then I moved on to CrossFit in Union Square, worked with some CrossFit Games athletes, took an athlete to the CrossFit Games, got in very good shape myself, training with alongside those fairly great athletes. I opened up my own gym, won 50-day CrossFit in Jersey City in 2017. I won Men's Health Magazine's Fitness Trainer competition in a couple of months after opening up the gym. I was featured in Forbes list, I think at the end of 2019 or beginning of 2020. Then the pandemic happens, and then gym has to shut down. I start pivoting into the online space. I link up with the folks at Ladder, start building my program there. And then fast forward to here today. I closed my gym about a year ago, so November of last year, and I've been full time with Ladder, and life is good. So that's my long story.
Man, no, I think what I really just love about your story, man, is it's safe to say you were a man of many hats. That's number one off the top. Where you go from banking to a mixologist to basically playing in movies to now everything that you're doing in the fitness industry. And even one of the themes that I'm kind of seeing just through your story is realizing even in the different spaces, you wanted to positively impact people. Yeah. Right. But then also like a flexibility in the search, meaning that like that is I don't know many people who have gone from banking to something like mixology, but at least you knew at least like the meter, the way you were measuring your success, quote unquote, was just your ability to impact people. And that was seemed to be like kind of your guiding light. Talk with me about when you trained the senior trainer's client, that light bulb moment. You described it as a light bulb moment for you where you realize, okay, this is how I'm going to be able to positively impact people as well as closely interact. Bring us into that moment where like the light bulb went off. Tell us more about that feeling.
That feeling, it's really indescribable. If you're someone if you've done something that you really hate and you make a lot of money doing it, and like that's your baseline of what like having a job is, then you do another job that you enjoy, but you don't like everything about it. But like I don't know. I think the best way to describe it, it's like Goldilocks. It's like I found the perfect fit for what I was going to do. In the back of my mind, I'm like, it's kind of crazy that I'm only going to be making $9 per half hour session here. But at that point, I wasn't really overly concerned about that. I remember when I left from the bank, I was like, man, I might even just want to do like a construction job. I just want to do something where I'm physically using my body. But when that light bulb went off that I could make a positive impact on people's lives and also engage with people and be on my feet at the same time, that was a really wonderful feeling. Now, I definitely started to fall in love with the practice then, but I would say that I really fell in love with the practice when I started making a little bit better money.
That's real. No, that makes sense. And I think what I appreciate, I wrote this statement down just as you were explaining your story, is that fulfillment came before material success. Because in your story, obviously, and again, depending on how you want to measure success, for you, it was, okay, I'm in banking, I'm making great money. So on paper, everything's great, but you recognize the fulfillment isn't quite there. So you're starting to move and using kind of the filter of fulfillment as you're making decisions moving on to where now you go to mixology. Okay, it's closer. It's not quite as bad as it was with banking, but we're closer, but this isn't quite the way I want to live. To now extras and movies to training. And then kind of like how you just rattled off kind of what's happened since you had that light bulb moment with the client to where now you've basically, I'm not as familiar with the training space as you are, but like, sounds to me like you've done it. So talk with me about like, do you ever find yourself kind of in awe or put us like in that moment where you're kind of in that momentum of like, okay, the light bulb moment, I found the thing, but now you're actually seeing all the material success behind it.
Yeah. I think that when I first had that aha moment, the aha moment was, okay, I think this is what I want to do. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, how can I make more money off of this? Because I knew that, that's just not a sustainable lifestyle, $9 per half hour session. Like I knew that's not exactly how I wanted to do it. So I understood that I was new to the fitness industry and I needed to cut my teeth. I needed to just get in front of clients. So I looked at it as, okay, I'm going to be here at LA Fitness. I'm going to make the most of this opportunity and I'm going to fill my book. So I start training people. I start talking to literally every single person in the gym, offer them a sample training session. I see someone on the pec deck machine. I'm like, hey, have you ever tried a hand release push-up? Let's get you off a machine and try something else. So that was my big, kind of shtick in the beginning, just getting people to move their bodies and to train muscle groups in a different way than just sitting on a machine. But in the back of my mind, there's always that finance major, that business major that is thinking, how can I actually level up and make this something that's going to be sustainable? And so I thought that the pinnacle of being a fitness professional was one day opening up my own gym. So I start to, in the back of my mind, say, okay, I kind of write down what is my personal and professional mission as a fitness professional. And it is to motivate, challenge, and inspire as many people as possible to become the best versions of themselves through health and through fitness. I knew that in order for me to get good at fitness, I had to train a lot of people, right? So once again, I fill my book. I'm training people from 5:30 in the morning until noon, go home, come back, do that same thing again at night. And I just looked at it as I'm building my resume. I'm building my resume. Coming from that business background, I knew that I had to actually train people if I want to be someone who is eventually going to be in a position where I own a gym. So I do that. And then kind of the next big catalyst for me to grow on is one of my clients at LA Fitness. Her name is Erica. She lost, I think, about 50 pounds within the first year that we were working together. And she happened to work at a Starbucks in Manhattan. A couple of her regular clients that would come in happened to be managers at the Equinox on the High Line. And they literally saw her and said, "Oh my God, Erica, you look great. What have you been doing?" And she mentioned me. So that was my foot in the door to go from, Secaucus, New Jersey, $9 for a half hour session, to working in the Chelsea neighborhood of, New York City, making a little bit of a better income there. So move on to Equinox after about a year of being at LA Fitness, get my education up. I start to, specialize in different things. We learned about working with, people that have different backgrounds, people that might be pregnant, people that are coming back from injuries, learning about soft tissue work and myofascial release and all these techniques that you never really hear about unless you're someone who really works in the space. Right. And then everything's going great. But then what happens? Equinox, they're not the beacon that I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be everything that I wanted to be, because on paper, I am making good money. It went from making $9 per half hour session to, making 40 plus per half hour session. But it wasn't quite right for me in terms of their company management, ownership, philosophies, all of that. At the point, I was in my kind of CrossFit training phase, and I wanted to get into the competitive CrossFit space because I figured, hey, another way that I can make my brand something where people will recognize me wherever I go is I wanted to get good at the fitness side of things. So they issue a company-wide ban on Olympic lifting, and then I'm like,
oh wow,
yeah. And the reason isn't what you think it would be. They're not like, oh, it's because of this and that. I know the reason why. The reason why is when you're working in Manhattan, if you drop a barbell and you have any sort of building that has people above you, the vibrations are going to go through and it's going to disrupt the neighborhood. I completely understand that. But their reason was, it's actually more, the director of personal training sends an email out to everyone. It's actually a more technically demanding lift if you safely eccentrically lower the snatch lift from over your head. Like, bro, you literally know nothing about fitness. That is not a movement that is designed for you to lower, your body weight or more from over your head and externally and do all this crazy stuff. So that made me lose a lot of respect for that organization. And so that's when I started planning what's my next move to get out of here. So move on to Equinox, or move from Equinox into training actually in a CrossFit gym. And that kind of sets me up with my opportunity to open up my own gym.
So let me ask you this. I want to go back because you said something that I think is really, really key. You said that you wrote down your fitness mission statement.
Yeah.
Where did you get that from? What prompted you to say, let me write down the mission as to what I want to achieve?
Just my business background. Going, University of Pittsburgh, I went to the College of Business Administration, and every class that you're in, to some extent, had you do some form of a project where you were either, in theory, the owner of a new business or a manager within a business or on a team within a business. And every project that you work on, you always had to come up with, okay, what is your goal? What is your mission statement? What is your purpose? And these are things that we had to write down all the time. And so it only made sense that now that I'm entering this field of fitness, that I have some sort of a mission statement for myself. Otherwise, I would just be chasing dollars potentially, right? And I think that's where a lot of guys and girls, whatever field they're in, but in fitness in particular, if they just start chasing dollar signs and don't necessarily look at what the bigger mission is for themselves, they can get lost in the sauce and get side railed or derailed from what their bigger purpose might be. So I think it's very important, whatever field you're in, to write down whatever your goals and whatever your professional mission is to help you get from point A to wherever point B is for you, or
Yeah.
point C, or point G.
I really appreciate you saying that, because I can imagine, especially with all the moving parts that you have, the audience that you have now and everything, if you didn't have that focus of a mission statement, you would probably be saying yes to way more than you probably could actually handle. Like, it just becomes overbearing. And
Yeah.
so that I'm hearing that basically that mission statement helps you stay focused, just in terms of the way you make decisions, the way you filter decisions. Even now, obviously, with you partnering with Ladder, and just as you've gone through, you're like, okay, is this in line with the mission? Am I
Yes.
understanding that properly?
Absolutely.
So with your business background, it sounds like basically what you were able to do in previous seasons with, obviously, when you went to school, but then even in banking, and then even with mixology, it sounds like even all of those experiences, because you just kind of did your best in them, they're serving you now.
Absolutely.
Was it easy for you to kind of like connect the dots on that? Was that something that you had to really like think through? Like, talk to me about that.
I think one of the biggest assets that I have is self-confidence and self-belief.
I'm sorry to interrupt the conversation, but I wanted to take a moment to let you know and personally invite you to this year's Dreamer Symposium. On December 5th and 6th, we're hosting a leadership conference for you to create vision for the new year and grow in your self-leadership. So whether you're looking to climb the corporate ladder, whether you're building a business, or you're growing a ministry, it is important that in order for you to succeed, that you have vision and you lead yourself well, which is why this year's theme is resilient leadership, because it's not about what's happening to you, but it's about what you can make happen in your world. And you need to know that you are built to overcome. And in these 2 days, you're going to learn how, because resilience will be necessary, because for you to build the life that you dream of, you're going to need to overcome some things. And so I would look forward to seeing you there on December 5th and 6th in Jackson, New Jersey for the Dreamer Symposium. Now let's get back to the episode.
One of my, going back to business school, senior year, I was taking a class called Business Communications. It was not a hard class. Like, so going into senior year, I already had a job offer from the corporate bank that I was going to be working for, because I interned with them. And so I went into senior year like, okay, I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to take 12 credits per semester, and I'm just going to live my best life, and it's going to be great. So I take business communications class. It's a night class. I think we met only once a week. It was great. The professor, his name was Michael Mingrone, and our year-end project is that we had to make up our own company, and then we just had to do a presentation on what our value proposition is. So I came up with this. I think I actually called it Cruise Control International Consulting Firm, something like that. And the whole idea was that we could help you out with whatever you needed, whether it was, you want to go and open up something in a foreign country, you want to do something on the finance side, you need help with marketing, we could kind of help you with whatever it is that you wanted to do. And so after the presentation, he pulls me over to the side and says, hey, great work. You're great at public speaking, but I want you to know that whatever you do in life, your value proposition is going to be you. If you want to do something, and if you think that you can do something and you are truly passionate about it, you are going to be successful because of who you are as a person. And that has always stuck with me. And I've never been afraid of doing something as long as I wanted to do it. And so that really, so that really helped me to not be afraid to step out of this lane and go into this lane. You're asking about how things kind of like link together. I didn't, back then when it was happening in real time, I didn't say, oh, hey, well, I have a finance background, so now I'm going to go and work in mixology, and now I'm going to work in the movie industry, and now I'm going to work. Like, I didn't have any of this planned out. It just so happened that I saw opportunities and I wanted to explore them. And I believed that I would be successful in those fields if it's something that I wanted to do. And I treated each of them like I went all in on everything. When I was a bartender, like I wanted to be the best freaking bartender mixologist in the world. I got really good at making drinks. I got really good at multitasking, taking pizza orders while selling 6-packs from the back, while, pouring shots for people all around the bar. And I always just put myself into everything all in. And that is, I think, what has made me successful. I think some people can be a little timid to start something new, and they kind of go in with like one foot or even a toe to kind of test the waters. But if you're going to commit to something, just commit to it, because you're never going to know if that's what you want to do or what you don't want to do until you go all in and fully commit to it. Obviously, If you have, kids in a family, then make sure that your finances are okay before you, leave your high-paying corporate job. But at that point, I didn't have any kids. I was single at the point, so I was not afraid to step out on my own and see what I could do.
What would you say to the person who, like you said, is kind of operating with some timidness, knows that they're kind of running into the wall of fear? What would you tell that person to do? What would you tell that person to think about?
So if you're someone who has a family and you have responsibilities, so let's say that you're a dad and you have 1 to 2 kids and a wife and whatever, make sure that your money is in order before you make any sort of big jump. Because what I did, I don't encourage everyone to do. I fully believe in myself because I know that I have the brains and the go-to-itness, if that's a word. Like, I know that I'm willing to hustle and make things happen no matter what. Not everyone is necessarily about that life. So you really have to know yourself before you dive into something new. But when you're going to start something new, do whatever you have to do to become qualified in that field. So let's say that you are someone like me, but just maybe, in your 30s with kids or upper 20s with kids. You have your day job. Okay. What are you going to do outside of your day job to get yourself into that position that you want to be in? So first things first, if you do want to get into something like fitness or the restaurant industry, start doing your research. Look up what you need to do to get in that field. Okay. So I'm going to find a certification and I'm going to get that certification, whether it's a mixology certification, a personal trainer certification, a group fitness certification, a nutrition certification. Find that and start studying for that while you are doing your daily job, continuing with your life. Take an hour out of your night every single night, read, study, and then get yourself certified. Okay. Now that you have that base level of entrance, then find something that allows you to do that job with a part-time interest. Something that, hey, maybe you're going to pick up a personal training client in the morning. Maybe you're someone who goes to the gym at, 5 o'clock in the morning before going to work. Maybe you talk to that local gym owner and say, hey, are you looking for trainers? Can I pick up a shift and try to recruit people to train with me? Or maybe you're just training 1 or 2 people on the weekends. And now, honestly, with social media and with these things, you can find a client online and you can write a program for them and you can do a FaceTime private training session with them from the comfort of your home and from the comfort of their own home. But find ways to get yourself into the industry that you want to be in that won't completely blow up your current life situation and finances. And then once you really start to put in the hours in the work, you're going to really quickly discover if this is something that you actually might want to do. You might discover that, hey, in theory, I thought that I might like personal training, but I don't actually like it that much. I like working out, but I don't like dealing with the people and their problems and their emotions. Personal training, it's more of a therapy job than it is than it is just about getting to do the workout. So do that, and then once you get to a point where you actually start seeing some finances come your way from that, then you have to start doing the math. Okay, I'm making this salary with my finance job. I have this much right now from these, 3 or 4 clients that I built up doing things part-time. Am I in a financially stable enough position where I can leave this and go to this, knowing that this might eventually catch up, right? So you have to be very methodical in how you approach it, but everyone needs to just do everything they can to at least set themselves up so that they can make an honest evaluation about whether it is a good decision or not to pursue that path. And for some people, hey, it might be something that you just have to do part-time for the rest of your life because maybe financially it doesn't make sense. But hey, maybe you doing a couple of extra personal training sessions or nutrition consultations, whatever it is on the side, that might be a reason why you and your family can take a really awesome vacation every single year. So there are different ways that you can try different things. But yeah, once again, I don't recommend anyone just abandon ship on whatever they're doing. Make sure that your house is in order before you do anything crazy.
Right. I like that. And I think just to kind of even synthesize what you said, it's being methodical, but also being strategic, where you're not just kind of jumping out the boat too fast. It's like, all right, what makes sense? But then when you do find whatever that thing is, go all in, get qualified, basically put forth your best effort so you can actually see if the results make sense for you, your situation, and everything. Now, I want to pivot a little bit in our conversation, more so from the productivity side to the mentality side, because you put up a post maybe about a week or so ago now, and you talked about how men wake up around 30. Men wake up when they get married. Men wake up when they have kids. And that wake up Speak into that. Like, what is that wake up? Now, obviously, the post was about men, but kind of even generalize it, just like when a person wakes up. Tell me, and the people listening, like what that means to you, your own experience with it. Like, just go ahead. The floor is yours.
Men wake up when they realize that they don't have their daddy or mommy to come and save them. For the most part, like I think that's what it is. In that post, I said some men wake up at 30, some men wake up at I do, some men wake up at fatherhood, some men never do, right? A little rhyme that I didn't mean to do there. But I think when you come to a point where you are him in your life, whatever that means you might live away from your parents. They might still be living, they might not still be living. But when you realize that you are the sole reason why your life is going to be awesome or good or great or not so great, then you're like, oh, it's me. It's me. Like there's no backup team. There's no one that's going to come and change your diaper for you or, help bail you out if you get into trouble. That aha moment, it happens to men at many different points in their life. Some men, it happens to them, at age 18. Some guys, they might, join the military at a very early age, or they might join the police force or something where something happens to them. That's a very, very serious life situation. So we all wake up at different points, but generally speaking, it's when you realize that you are the driver. You're going to be the catalyst for everything that you want to do in life, whether it is good or bad. It's on you, and there's no one that's going to come in and save you.
Man, that's good. So how does someone wake up? So how does someone even like come to that record? How does someone acknowledge that reality for their life? Because I know there's a lot of people, whether they're building a business, whether they're in ministry, whether they're, trying to grow their career, build their career, whatever the case is, they are kind of, you could say, coasting. You could say that they know that life should be better. They know that life can be better, but they are in their own way, as I would describe it. How does that person wake up to that reality of what you said, where literally you are all you got? How does someone wake up?
It depends. It really all depends. I think something kind of bad has to happen,
Okay.
or something kind of good, right? Like I think it has to be some sort of in like the superhero movies, like an archetypal moment has to happen that makes you want to do that. It's going to be different for every single person. I do think that every man will, like, marriage should wake you up, but it doesn't necessarily for some men. But like fatherhood, like that's the big, like, hey, you're him. Like there's this little creature that is relying on you. And if you do not make money and do your best and provide and show love, like you're going to potentially mess up this kid's entire world. And like you want to be that guy for them. So I can't give an answer on like what exactly it is that causes people to wake up, but it generally has to be something where you just have that oh shit moment where you know that like it's everything is on you and you can't do anything except for take those reins and get on that horse and ride.
Now you're an individual who it's easy to describe you as driven. It's easy to describe you as knowledgeable, motivated. You recently had a kid.
Yes.
Talk with us about just kind of how that even, I can't even say woke you up, because you've already were a very high performance individual, but how did that shift even your mindset towards just kind of everything that you're doing? Because obviously you have a lot of things going on. You're managing a lot. You're successful by all accounts. But how did fatherhood take you to the next level?
Fatherhood. So my son was born in April 2022. I know your daughter was born in April as well. So of this year. So you got a little bit of time before she's in the terrible toddler phase. But but for me, so at the time when my son was born, I was 5.5 years into my gym being open. So at that point, everything's going well at the gym, as well as it could be, post COVID. Members are still coming in. I'm doing the majority of the work for the gym. I'm also building ladder on the side while managing the gym and managing my social media and all of this stuff. And so the way that I woke up when my son was born was that I realized in a very real way that I couldn't give all of my time and energy to the gym. So as I mentioned, when I first started in the fitness industry, I thought the pinnacle of being in the fitness industry was going to be, hey, I'm going to be a gym owner. I'm going to get to a point where I have, 400 members and I'm making a good living and I get to live my dream by, I didn't mind. I've never minded getting up early except for when I worked at the bank, which is kind of crazy to think. I used to hate that I had to get to work by like 8:30. And bro, I've been getting up at like when I worked in Manhattan and my wife and I lived in West New York, New Jersey, I would literally wake up at like 3:30, 3:45 in the morning to, eat breakfast and go catch a bus to get into the city to train my 5 a.m. client. So like perspective. But so I never minded getting up early, and I thought that I would be okay with always being the guy to open my gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 or 6 days out of the week. When my son is born, that calculus changed. That's really what woke me up. Like, oh, I'm missing out on time with my son because I have to be out of the door at 4:30, 4:45 to physically get to the gym to open it up and get everything settled. And I handled all the overnight stuff when my son was first born because my wife had a C-section. So him and I would bond with him that way. But I felt truly bad that I was not there in the morning to help my wife, get him up, get him ready, especially when he started going to daycare. Like I felt like I was truly missing time with my family. And that's when my perspective changed that, oh, this gym thing, like this isn't the best. This isn't the pinnacle of what I wanted to do. And thankfully at that point, everything with Ladder was going very well. It took us a year and a half just to get up to 100 members. But by the time my son was born, we were in like the, I think, 700 member space, and we just kind of kept growing. So I start to lean into that a little bit more, and I start to slowly kind of pull myself away from the gym. The entire time the gym was open, I was always keeping my eye open for good, fresh talent, some guy or some girl that would be able to come in as a coach and then potentially take over and become a manager who was doing the majority of the responsibilities that I was doing. And every time that I would find that person, they would do well in the beginning, but as soon as their workload came even close to what mine was, and in terms of opening the gym, 4 or 5 times a week, they would start to hit that burnout phase. And I'm like, well, this is the job. And oftentimes they didn't realize that that's what that job entailed. And so they would burn out, or it would get to a point where I would get messages from members that say, hey, Coach Andre, we love that you're still writing all the workouts, you're still involved in the community, but I do not feel motivated to come to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning if you're not there. And I'm like, okay. So I would always just come back and I would just move that person to like the evening classes or some other point. And then at some point they'd probably quit. And then, I'd get some new people and some fresh blood in. And so that kind of was always the case at the gym. But once my son was born, I did not want to give up my time with my family. And I was like, it came to a point at the beginning of 2024 where my program, Cruise Control, had 1,000 members. I was a full-time senior coach with them while still owning my gym. And I said, okay, here's the grand experiment. I'm going to take myself off the schedule completely. I'm only going to coach like a couple of classes during the week, and I'm going to write all the programming. I'm going to pay my coaches $40 to $50 an hour, and I'm going to write these lengthy daily briefs of, okay, here is what you do if you're coaching the 5:30 class. Here is where you need to be at 5:15. Here's what you need to do at 5:31. Here's how you're going to lead them through this warm up, through this progression, through this movement, through this block. And I had everything like literally mapped out and choreographed so that if you had just a basic personality, then you could show up and lead an awesome class. But once again, what it came down to, members saying, hey, Coach Andre, it's great and all this, but we still don't feel the same energy when you're not there. And I said, hey, I can't clone myself. And that's when my business partner and I made the decision to just like close the gym, because it came to a point where no one is me. And once again, it comes back to my professor, Michael Mangrone, that value proposition. No one is me. The gym was successful because I was at the gym all the time. Ladder was becoming more successful because I am on my phone and on my laptop all the time, answering member questions, being engaged with them. And I knew that I did not want to sacrifice time with my family just to continue to grow a gym that, while better than being in the personal training space, still had a finite cap. Realistically, the most people we could ever have as members was probably, 300 to 400 people. But on this, infinite. The infrastructure is there where we can literally have tens of thousands of people. Right now, we have 5,700 members around the world in my program. And so that's really that pivotal point for me, was where I did not want to sacrifice family time for what I thought was the penultimate of the fitness industry. And I was very fortunate that, ladder came into my life in 2020. But yeah, that was the big point.
That's amazing. It sounds like the the focus of fulfillment kind of changed,
Mhm.
where it was okay, career, building what you're doing as a fitness trainer, to now it's family, to where, hey, like at the end of the day, my family comes first, and now everything is going to align with that, because obviously it's your family that fulfills you the most.
Mhm.
Kind of bending the corner here a little bit. How would you suggest someone who, they're also looking for fulfillment? They are where you used to be in banking. They might not necessarily be in banking, but they're at their 9 to 5, whatever it is, and they're like, man, like I want to interact with people. I want to basically live a fulfilled life. What would you say to them as a way to just kind of get started? What would you say to motivate them to just move in the path of fulfillment?
I think they have to start writing stuff down. I think there's such power in the pen. And if you just make a list, say, all right, write down all the pros and the cons of your current job. Just write them all down. Write them all down. And then write down what you think you might want to do instead of that, or potentially to supplement that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to find a completely new career. It might mean that you might find that on your cons list, say you have all these pros, that it's stable, you're making good money, you do enjoy certain parts of your job, but the other part, you don't feel like you're doing anything aside from just making money, like whatever the cons might be. Try to find a third little block that's okay. How can I turn the cons here into pros, or what would allow me to have more pros from these things that I look at as cons right now? And once again, it could be, hey, maybe you're just going to get more involved at your church. Maybe you're going to get more involved at your gym. Maybe you're going to do something like, maybe you're going to coach your kids' little league, whatever it might be. But I think there's so much power in writing things down and actually looking at them. And all the decisions that I ever make that are big level, it's something as simple as putting it down on paper. I think a lot of people live up here in their brains, and they think about it, they think about it, they think about it. They might talk to some people about it, but until you physically write it down in your own handwriting and look at those words and do a side by side comparison of where you are versus where you want to be, you can't really make that good of an informed decision. So I think that's where everything starts. Grab that pen, grab that paper, write down what you're doing, what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Write down. You don't necessarily know what you do want to do, but write down the feelings that you want to have. Write down, what does it mean for you to be fulfilled? Like, I bet you, if you ask any of your friends right now, hey, like what would make you fulfilled? I bet they'd be like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think if you go down the street and you ask 100 people, I would bet that, 99 out of 100 people do not know what would make them fulfilled. Because I think most people have never done the exercise of actually writing down where they are, what they like about it, what they don't like about it, and where they potentially want to be. I think a lot of us, especially if you're busy, especially if you're a parent, you get caught in just the day-to-day survival of, I'm sleep deprived. I got to get to my job. I got to get on my workout. I got to try to eat well. I got to try to maintain this relationship and this romance with my wife. I got to still be able to hang out with my friends from time to time. Like, we're juggling all these different things on a daily basis. And while on paper, everything is good and great, like there might be that little hole in your life that's just missing, and you don't know what it is until you write everything down. That's good. Write things down that are not ideal, and then write down what can help to make those not ideal things better.
Man, that's so good. That is so good. Man, I appreciate this. This is really, really good. I really just love, just even going back to what you had said that your professor taught you, is that your value proposition is you. I think, like, if I can implore anyone listening, let that be your biggest takeaway. Like,
Yeah.
your value proposition truly is you, Andre. So I appreciate you, man. Listen, talk with people about where they can find you. How can they connect with you? Obviously, tell them about the ladder program and everything like that, so they can join for
Yeah.
those that want to get in shape. To just, how can people find you?
Yeah. So everyone can find me on Instagram. My handle is just my name, at Andre Crews, AndreCrews. If you're not on the Instagram, I'm also on TikTok. So my handle there is at Andre Cruise Control, but I would definitely encourage everyone to do Instagram because that is where you find my most authentic self. I put up the question and answer thing on my Q&A probably 3 or 4 times a week. So I answer all kinds of crazy questions. Like there was someone the other day, they asked me like, hey, should I give my kid creatine? Like their baby. I'm like, the amount of questions that people get, but I will always give you an answer. Sometimes I will be sarcastic, but I will always tell you the truth. So get on that. But that's the best way to do it. And then the ladder program itself. So ladder is the future of fitness. As I mentioned, when I first started the industry, I thought being a gym owner was going to be the best thing in the world. And when I opened my gym, I thought it was the best thing in the world. But there is nothing I am more proud of than what I have built with Ladder. So I linked up with them in 2020. As I mentioned, it took us a year and a half of clawing tooth and nail just to get us up to 100 members, but kept grinding, kept doing it in the background, and then got up to 500, 600, then 1,000. Right now we're at 5,700 members, and literally I am living my dream of helping to motivate, challenge, and inspire people all around the world. I have members in Australia, South Korea, Singapore, the UK, Scotland, and all across the continent of the United States. I even have some folks in South America. So that's the best way you can do it. If you go to my Instagram, you can click on the link in my bio, and that will give you a free 7-day trial to the app. And then if you like it after that, it's literally $29.99 a month. No commitment. You can cancel at any point. And if you do a year paid in full, it's, I think, $15 per month. So like you literally have nothing to lose except for stubborn body fat. And the program is full of, moms, dads, we have grandmas, we have grandpas, we do have some younger people in the program, people, some college athletes, as well as some younger professionals. But my main mission is to help people who are like us, busy working professionals, whether you're a parent or not, who want to build muscle, because we know that muscle is the organ for longevity. And the more lean muscle we put onto our bodies, the stronger and healthier we make our hearts, the longer that we will live for our families. So yes, we do want to, build some nice muscle and, get some abs and get rid of that stubborn belly fat. But really the focus is focusing on things that are going to make you stronger and fitter for the real world. All the workouts are about 45 minutes and all you need are 2 dumbbells and a very positive attitude. And these workouts will mess you up in a good way. So I'm a pretty fit guy. The only workouts that I do are the workouts that I program for my members in Team Cruise Control. I'm not over here doing some secret Coach Andre workouts to get like jacked and tan. Literally, I curse out my own name sometimes. I'm like, who wrote this? Oh yeah, me. So the workouts are life-changing. The community is amazing. I've always tried to build up the community the same way that I had in real life at my gym, because I know that people can work out anywhere. If you go on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or even LinkedIn now, people are posting workouts. Like you can work out anywhere that you want to. So I want people to know that if they have a question that, might be dumb, I will answer it. I want everyone to feel welcome, and I want to guide you from wherever you are to wherever you want to be and help you become the best, fittest, and strongest version of yourself for your family.
Man, that's so cool. And that's so dope. I love it. I support it. Listen, as you guys have been listening, please connect with Andre however you feel comfortable, but definitely check out his Instagram. At the very least, give him a follow. This guy knows what he's doing, in all seriousness. But I appreciate you. I hope that you guys got some value out of this conversation. And if you did, if this conversation helped you simply take one step towards the leader that you want to be, all I'm going to ask you to do is share it with somebody else that you know, love, and trust. All right. I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next episode. And always remember, your dream is possible as long as you're willing to grow for it.